Moving into a new country can be a very exciting experience, regardless of the reason why you are moving, whether to visit, to work, or even to study. And yet it can be a source of a lot of stress, particularly if the country you are moving from is different, whether socially, economically, politically, or even, culturally, different from the one you are moving into. And I've certainly had my fair share of, these frustrations in the last 10 years that I've lived in the UK. Because it's very different from the country that, I came from, hashtag Ghana. So I thought in this video, I'll share with you, 10 things you must do in the first month after you move into the UK. It is with the hope that, it will make your stay in the UK enjoyable, or even your transition into the UK quite smooth. So this will be useful to people who are thinking of moving into the UK for whatever reason, or people who have just moved, or even if you've been around for a while, but perhaps there are certain things you've not considered. If you stay till the end of this video, there are some 2 bonus points, in fact, sweet points that I'll share, which you may not have considered. Stay with me. Hello, and welcome to Diaspora Careers and Investments. If you are new on this channel, my name is Shadrach, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you 10 things you must do in the first month after you arrive in the UK. So let's dig in. The very first thing you must do when you arrive in the UK is to get your BRP, your Biometric Resident Permit. And this is usually applicable to people who are coming to study or to work. And sometimes if you are coming to join your family for a long term. People who are coming on a short-term visit usually do not get a BRP. You would usually get a visa, which is like a vignette in your passport if you're moving into the UK. And this obviously allows you to travel or to fly into the UK. However, it expires within a short time after your arrival, and so you need a residence permit. And I can't overemphasize why this is important. There is absolutely no debating about this. Go to your, whether it's a post office or wherever you indicated that you would go for your BRP. You must make sure that you go for it, because that is what would actually legitimize your stay in the UK. And once you receive your BRP, I would encourage you to take a screenshot of it, take a shot of it, a picture of it, and send it to yourself in an email so that you have a copy of it. You can scan it, but make sure you have an electronic copy of it. Just in case you lose it, so that you would have that record of the number on it, and then you can apply for a new one. It would be a shame to lose your BRP and yet not remember anything about it. So you want to keep an electronic copy of that. And that's where I'll leave it. The second thing you want to do when you arrive in the UK is to download, the relevant maps of your locality. This could simply be, making sure that you've got Google Maps, or even, if you use an iPhone, the relevant maps. Some, areas or localities have got, City Mapper, or, even the bus company would have their own map. This is really to help you to navigate your way around, to get by, to know which bus number you should pick, how do you get into town, how do you get back home. And it is important to remember your house address. In the worst case scenario, you simply get a taxi. So you can also get a taxi number, or, know how to pick a taxi so that it can take you home in the worst case. I have spoken to some people from some West African countries who don't know how to use Google Maps. And they've told me that, oh, Shadrach, I live behind that tree. I'm like, man, you are going to definitely get lost. So make sure you have the map of your locality, or you know how to use Google Maps, and also you have your house address, your house number. Don't say my house is painted red and it's behind a certain tree. No, houses here look very similar. In fact, there can be 2 streets with exactly the same number of stores, and everything is very similar. So please know your address and have your bus, relevant, map on your phone. Of course, so you need a good phone. Hopefully, one that can help you navigate around. There is no question about that. It will be very useful. And of course, as an added on, you can also get, a taxi number and then know how to use it. So that's something you want to do in order to help you get around. The third thing to do is to get a national insurance number, or an NI number for short. An NI number is a unique number that helps you to pay your taxes and, your national insurance, essentially. And it's not just for those who plan to work, but if you will live in the UK for long, you also need an NI number to, get your state pension, as well as even your own pension. You would also need an NI number if you are planning to register to vote, which I certainly encourage. or whether you'll be opening some bank accounts. For example, a cash ISA or a lifetime ISA or a stocks and shares ISA. There are some savings and investments you need an NI number in order to open those accounts. So I really encourage you to apply and get an NI number. And I'll put a link in the description box below as to how you can get an NI number. Around the September, January time, it can be very busy because there is a lot of student influx. So you want to you want to apply as soon as possible in order to get your NI number, in order to be able to work as soon as possible. Even if your NI number is not yet in, you can start working if you are allowed, and your employer will pay the right taxes when you give them your NI number. Another thing is, if you get the letter for your NI number, or if you get a card, whichever you get, you want to keep it safe. In fact, scan it and have an electronic version of it, because it is also a proof of your NI number, and sometimes it is actually requested. So that's where I'll leave that. The fourth thing, which I've just mentioned, is to apply to be on the electoral roll. Being on the electoral roll is crucial for your identification. It helps, to verify your address, and so you want to be on. And it helps boost your credit score. And that is something I've spoken, hugely about on this channel. So I'll put a link, in the description box below, as well as up here, about how to build your credit score. And certainly applying to vote is one of the ways. The fifth point is to register with a GP. The UK runs a primary healthcare system, unlike other countries, whereby if you are sick, you simply, go to the hospital and go and choke the place up. We don't do that over here, except in emergencies where you can go to the ER, and you don't want to do that because it's really packed and sometimes the wait hours can be very long. You don't want that. So if you are sick, the first point of contact is your general practitioner, your GP, like elsewhere they call it the family doctor. So you go there and then they'll give you a prescription. And then if it's serious enough, then they can refer you to go to the hospital. So that is how it works here. So everyone ought to be registered with a GP. And it's advisable, or I would encourage you to register with a GP in your locality, so that if in the evening or you are home and you are unwell, it's not now that you have to travel to go to the doctor, particularly if you live alone, So you want a doctor who is close to you. And I'll put a link in the description box below as to how to find a doctor in your locality to register. And that is important so that you can obviously access healthcare. The sixth point is to open a bank account, and that is important. Generally, for people who have just moved into the UK, I'll not get into which bank account is the best for you, all of that. No, you simply want a bank account. On this channel, I've already spoken about which are the best bank accounts, and I'll put a link in the description box below for you to consider. That will apply to those who have been here for a while. But if you've just moved into the UK, what you want is simply to have a bank account. And here, I would really not be fussy about which one is the best, Now, they are generally all the same. Certainly don't go to a bank who is going to charge you for keeping your money. No, most banks do not charge you for that. And here I'll recommend two banks. One is an online bank, like, without Monzo, Sterling, Chase Bank, Marcus, you want an online bank, which is usually simple to open. They don't require a lot of documents, and then you can do it from the comfort of your home. That is straightforward and simple. In addition to an online-based bank, I would also encourage you to open, a brick-and-mortar bank, a bank where, you know where the building is, you can walk into, whether HSBC, Lloyds Bank, Halifax, Bank of Scotland, RBS, NatWest. They are all the same to me, in terms of the basic services they provide. If you've been following me for a while, I'm not really a huge fan of Barclays, but it can be good, So just open an online bank and a brick and mortar bank. It doesn't matter which one you go to. If you are interested in knowing which bank is the best, then look in the description box below. I've done a video on that, and you can consider it. The seventh point is to know how to send money back home. Many of us in the UK send a lot of money, a lot of pounds back home, whether for a project or to support family, for many reasons, we sometimes we send Momo, for lunches. So anyway, you want to know how to send money home. Doing a bank transfer is a no-no because the bank charges can bite. There are 4 main apps that I use, and I would strongly recommend them. And they are TransferWise. If you check on your app, it's called Wise. There is also SendWave, or what is known as Wave. there is Unity Link, and then there is Lemonade. These are the 4 apps I use. I'll put a link to each of these in the description box below. If you use the link there, you can get, whether £10 or £50, depending on, how much you send. So I'll strongly encourage you to use those links to download them. But these apps have different services, because some of them, like TransferWise or Wise, will charge you for sending the money home. But their rate is often so good so that if you send a lot of money, sometimes it's worth actually paying for it, because by sending a huge sum of money, it compensates for it and you get a lot more, whether cedis or naira or kwacha or shillings, whatever the currency is. You get a lot more. So my advice is actually just download all these 4 apps and then just compare, so that if I want to send, whether £100 to Ghana, for example, I simply go to each of these 4 apps and check how much in cedis the person would receive, and then I use the one that offers the most. And that is what you want to do. Is it Herculean to do? I think it's worth it, because sometimes the difference between sending £1,000 in terms of the cedi equivalent or the naira equivalent can actually be huge between one app and another, and you want the best rate. And I must warn that these rates keep changing. I remember there was this unhealthy competition going on between Lemonade and Unity Link, and I loved it. Lemonade will give a higher rate, and then Unity Link will increase it, and you want to have all these apps and know which one is the best. But there is no point being loyal to any of these. Certainly, that's what I'm not loyal to any of these. So that I go with the one that is offering the best rate. But also, when a new app comes onto the market and they are offering a better rate, I simply move. You know how I do it. I simply move to the best rate at the time. So let me know which app you actually use in the comment section. If there's a new app on the market and I don't know about it, you want to tell me, we are in this relationship together. Do let me know in the comment section. Which app do you use to send money? And which country have you been sending money to? Let me know in the comment section, so that I will look them up and then let you know whether it's good or not. So that leads to the 8th point. And the 8th point, and the most important point really, is to subscribe to this channel. And I really don't understand. A lot more of you are watching these videos than have actually subscribed to this channel. So actually, let's take a moment to reflect. Why haven't you subscribed? Why are you not sharing these videos? Why are you not share? So no, the 8th point is really to please subscribe to this channel, because I think, what I offer is, valuable information, and hopefully it's blessed in one way or another. And do share it with your network and let us grow this channel. So yes, that is the 8th point, and the most important point is to subscribe and click on the notification bell. If not, use the comment section to show working. Tell me why you have not subscribed, or why have you not decided to subscribe. The 9th point is to apply for a provisional driver's license. And I'll put a link in the description box below as to how you can apply for a provisional driver's license. And this not only applies to those who are thinking of driving or wanting to learn to drive in the UK. You want a provisional driver's license also as an alternative means of identification, because it's a legal document, it's a legal, ID, so that even if you're flying within the UK, you don't necessarily need your BRP or even passport. You can simply fly with your driver's license. And so you want to apply for a provisional driver's license. And it can take some time before you actually get your driver's license, so you want to do it as early as possible. Mind you, when you're applying for the provisional license, they may require your BRP, your passport, and other documents. So you want to make sure that you're not going to need your passport for, the next month or two, or you have a soft copy of it before you post it to them. But I'll certainly encourage you, whether you're thinking of driving or not, just get the provisional driver's license as an alternate identification, so that you don't always have to pull your BRP and then risk even losing it. And that is crucial. The 10th and final point is to get a job. And to find a job here in the UK, you can simply search for the jobs online. Of course, there are, some specialist websites where you can use to find some specific jobs. Like if you want an academic job, then most of the universities will, advertise on www.jobs.ac.uk. If you want a job in the health sector, the NHS, then you can search on the NHS website. But generally, most of these things can be found through Google as well. Some people use Indeed.com. If you use any other app, you can put it in the comment section for others to benefit from it. But in my experience, Google works, works quite well. But before you apply for these jobs, you want somebody to actually review your CV and your cover letter for you. Because how we write CVs here in the UK is very different from how CVs are written, back in Ghana or even in Nigeria or, other countries. Here in the UK, for example, you don't write your sex or your age or your hometown on your CV. Some people would have, biodata. It's unnecessary because it can be discriminatory. You can't be denied a job because you are from Agona Swedro, can you imagine? Or you cannot be denied a job because you're a female or something. Yeah. So that is absolutely irrelevant and you don't have to put it on. And even how we write the CVs, also depend on the job you're applying for. You don't want to simply always do educational background, work experiences, You want to tailor it for the job that you are applying for and demonstrate how you qualify, how you meet those experiences and requirements, as well as the cover letter, making sure that it complements your CV. Anyway, I'll do a whole video on how to write, a good CV as well as a good cover letter. Oh, I certainly have good experience moving jobs with that. So I will do that. But in the meantime, do let me know in the comment section if you think there are other points that one must consider in the first month that they move into the UK that I've not mentioned about, or if there's anything that I did not throw so much light on that you want clarification, then I'm happy to do that. But while at this, can I kindly ask you to kindly subscribe to this channel and then click on the notification bell so that you get all the videos that I do. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've been blessed. Until I catch you at the next one, adios. Stay blessed.